Hey everyone. Um, so I've been exercising a lot lately. I guess since the weather's been getting nice here in the Northeast, and I don't have a second job anymore. I quit that back in February. I'm so grateful for that. Um, I mean, I had to get a job because of financial issues, but um, But anyways, I've been exercising a lot more. My friend created this Facebook thing that gets people together. We play kickball and wiffle ball and soccer and basketball like once a month, and it's awesome. I love it. And I'm about to buy a bike. I mean, I have a bike, but I need like a gravel bike so I can do like 3, 4 hours on bike trails and stuff. That way, on a mountain bike with that is like, and you'll get a workout, but you won't go far, right? With a gravel bike, you'll be able to do like 4 hours and 35 miles and stuff. So I'm looking for an investment with that one. Um, but definitely been moving around a lot. Been eating healthier. Been going to the gym. Going going to the gym. Uh, feeling good. Feeling good. But we got a video. Type Ashton. She just came out with this today or yesterday. I think today. Um, she talks about how the difference between fitness in America and Europe. So let's see why Europeans are much healthier. Check it out.
Enormous. The Health and Fitness Association says that 77 million Americans used fitness facilities in 2024, with almost 25% of Americans age 6 and up holding a gym membership. And
Wait, whoa,
on
whoa,
the
whoa,
whole,
whoa.
American
Six? Six? I thought the legal thing in America is supposed to be like 14 and up, just because of liable reasons. I never heard six can have one. That's weird. There's got to be some type of. I wonder what state allows that. I know not here in good old Pennsylvania can't do that.
plan to spend some $60 billion on health and fitness in 2026, cementing exercise
Yeah, and the
as a
most
non
obese
negotiable expense.
country in the
And of
world.
course, this has inevitably led to the model we have today, where
And that might be controversial, but you know what? We are the fattest country in the world. A lot of people go by like the number of people in the country. You can go to the gym and literally walk to the McDonald's in the parking lot here in America and wonder fitness doesn't work here.
to play experience is embedded in American fitness culture. There are endless gyms, classes, and products that promise to make you fitter as long as you hand over your credit card.
No,
In
yeah.
fact, the average American adult spends
You
approximately
gotta know how to use it right, honestly. Uh like I go to the gym to lift weights, right? And I'm there about an hour and a half every time I go. So you just got to use it to how lift weights and kind of like able to find other time to go for walks. Like I don't understand why people can't go for a walk after they eat dinner at night. Like even if you have like little kids, you can put them in the stroller and go for a walk and take your dog out with you and walk around I don't know, probably a lot of people live in cul-de-sacs and stuff. Or, like, it's just, people are just lazy here. They eat dinner and then they go sit on the couch and watch TV and do nothing.
$155 per month on health and fitness,
I don't
which
spend that much.
includes gym memberships, supplements, apparel, and personal
I don't take much supplements.
training. Adding up
Tuna and guacamole, mix that instead of tuna and mayonnaise. Tuna guac and put it on toast and spread that. That's good.
up to nearly $1,860 annually per person. For families, of course, these costs can vary widely, with dedicated fitness households easily spending hundreds more per month on multiple memberships, specialized classes, or youth sports. Which, by the way, the average all-in cost for travel youth baseball teams in the US is roughly $6,000 per
That's
player
insane.
per year.
I never really thought about how much it costs because I don't have kids yet. I hope someday I do. But, like, that's insane. Is it... How much do people in Europe spend on, like, the kids want to play foosball or American football? I did when I was over there in 2019. I did see people playing American football, which is pretty cool. What other sports would you guys probably play? Basketball, I'm sure. Baseball, yeah, maybe. Let me know in the comments.
Covering team fees, uniforms, travel, hotels, and gear. It's insane, but that's kind of another discussion for another day. But it's undeniable. Whether your goal is to slim down or bulk up, you have a plethora of options available to you. Planet Fitness boasts over 20
Planet
million
Fitness
members,
sucks.
and its competitor, Anytime Fitness, has over 5,500 locations. But something that also feels very American to me is the ever-present element of extreme intensity that's become extraordinarily popular in the U.S. fitness.
When I first started going to the gym, and this was... So, the first gym I went to, this guy had his own gym, part of a company that my mom worked for. So I had, like, the whole gym to myself, basically. It was awesome. To be 14 again and doing that, I wish. But after that company shut down and she had to get a new job and stuff, I went to Planet Fitness. They would have pizza, I think, every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. And the gym was packed. But the next day, there would be, like, barely anybody there. It's like, alright. So just you sign up to get free freaking pizza. Oh, jeez. And a freaking gym giving out free pizza. You're ruining the point of well, maybe not their perspective, but the people that come in here, you gotta think that you ruin your stuff here.
Americans don't just want yoga or Pilates. They want hot yoga or hot Pilates, where you twist, contort, dip, and lift in temperatures between 95 and 105 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, we couldn't just lift weights. We need to do it at speed and with questionable technique in a converted lightweight steel garage called CrossFit. And hey, while we're at it, let's time it and make everyone compete against one another with High Rocks, the fastest growing fitness sport in the country. But unfortunately, it still isn't enough. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Only 24% of American adults meet the recommended guidelines for both aerobic and muscle strengthening activities. For youth, the situation is equally concerning, as research indicates that less than 25% of American children aged 6 to 17 are getting the recommended 60 minutes of physical activity each day. And bear in mind, only 6 US states, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Mississippi, New York, Vermont, and my home state of Illinois, require physical education or PE classes in
Oh,
every grade, K through 12.
I'm so glad my school had PE twice a week, because it helped, like, sitting around. We were like kids, we gotta go up and run, especially after elementary school where we didn't have recess. Even in my elementary school, we had gym class, and then we would have recess. So we were getting a lot of exercise back when we were kids. I don't remember. There was one kid that was huge. But his whole family is huge. But like, other than that guy, I don't know. But I'm so glad my schools had that stuff though. Gym class. It drive me nuts.
And this is, I think,
And then I would get home from school and ride my bike for 4 hours.
the biggest misunderstanding a lot of people, including Americans themselves, have about health, wellness, and fitness in the United States. A single country can have lots of serious exercisers, influencers, supplements, boutique studios, and performance culture, while still having poor average health. And
Yeah.
part of this conversation is
Yeah, like nowadays, a lot of times I've been going on for a lot of walks during the week that I have work and stuff. But like, I would normally I would go to the gym after work and literally get in my car, drive home, and then I would do literally nothing afterwards. If I had to go to work, walk to the gym, and then get on like a train, like in Germany or even Europe anywhere, and then go home and then walk home, even if the train station's like 5 minute walk, I would love that. But in the town that I'm living in, you can't do that. You get hit by a car and die.
one that relates to class and economic opportunity. You can have a small group which is extremely optimized: gyms, macros, wearables, all things that cost a considerable amount of money. But so long as the larger group is dealing with long commutes, poor food access, less health care, and an inequitable work-life balance, well, fitness and health will be luxuries that many just simply can't afford. And remember, population health is driven less by what the top 10 or 20% do, and much more by what the median person does every single day,
Yeah.
which is considerably different across the pond. And now listen, on paper it doesn't 100% make sense. According to the WHO, Europeans on the whole drink more alcohol, smoke more cigarettes, consume more smoked meats, and are
Well,
less likely to go to the gym than Americans.
it's portion size. When I was in Germany, the large portion, right, was like, in Germany was like this big. That's a small here in America. That's a small. A large here is like this. Like, what they say is you can't outwork a bad diet. This is a large. Actually, sometimes a small is this big, and a large in Europe is probably this, right? So it's definitely portion size. And I think with the regulations with beer is a whole different story than the beer we have here, because we don't have that regulation that Germany has. Trying to remember off the top of my head, was it like 15, 16? I will not be able to say that name at all. But like, you gotta probably consider like how much crap we throw in our beers, right?
Americans. Heck, I live in Germany, which I love you guys, but this is basically the heart of brown food. Schnitzel, Spätzle, Kartoffelsalat, Wurst, Bier, Brezel.
Yeah.
They call this a salad, for goodness sakes.
That looks good.
But you know what? The obesity rate in the US is still double that.
Yeah, but do you have a McDonald's right beside your gym? Or a Burger King? Or any other fast food every 3 buildings down? And we have to get in our cars to go home. So we're not actually using that. We're not burning that much calories when we're at the gym, and we're eating slightly above those calories if we stop at McDonald's on the way home after the gym.
Germany's. What gives? Well, certainly access to universal healthcare is a key component here. Americans are far more likely to forego preventative care than Europeans.
That's definitely a part. I'm all for universal healthcare, but here in America, we gotta pay that middleman to deny us coverage.
Such a significant factor. Diet is also a key component. Americans consume far more ultra-processed foods in greater portion sizes as well. And yes, absolutely, this varies from country to country. But Europeans also have better vacation time, better sick leave policies,
yes,
and better work-life balance, which means they're more resilient. And
I was thinking about this. If I didn't have to drive my car at all to go to work every day, I would be so much happier. Because the stress that I had in the past few months with my car, it was driving me crazy. It was breaking down, it was having problems, it was taking all my money, and it's like, why can't I just get on a bike, pedal bike, and just ride to work? But I can't, because I live in America. Everything's road. Everything super heavily relies on cars, and it sucks.
Don't see the same levels of fatigue and burnout that can manifest in stress-related illnesses. By the way, if you're interested in learning a bit more about these, I have covered all 3 of these topics extensively on my channel, so I encourage you to check them out. I'll link a few down in the description below on this video. But I do think a major factor is just that we simply have a very different approach to exercise here in Europe. On the whole, Europeans tend to get a lot more exercise by spending time outside. Rather than working out in a gym, many people in Europe, especially in Scandinavia, France, and Germany, will go for walks,
yep,
bike, go swimming, hike, or find other ways to get some exercise in fresh air. And yeah, as the saying goes, there's no such thing as poor weather, only poor clothing choices.
Correct.
And fun fact, surveys show that Icelanders and Norwegians are the Europeans that exercise the most, which is notable because these are also 2 of the coldest countries. So it could just be that exercise is a good way to keep warm, but climate and weather is definitely not a barrier to getting in a good workout. But beyond pure exercise for exercise's sake, movement is also baked into everyday life as a way to commute from one place to another, to build community, or to connect with nature. In EU cities, short trips are far more likely to include walking in public transport. An EU mobility study found that in European cities, 54% of short distance trips are by private car, and about 27% by walking. In contrast, a 2024 commuting analysis reported that in the US and Canada, Nearly 92% of commutes are by car, with
Yeah.
only 3.5% by active mobility. And now,
You
an
can't.
older but
You
still
can't.
widely cited international transport research report found that Europeans walked about 382 kilometers per person per year versus 140 in the US, and bicycled 188 kilometers versus 40 in the US. And that matters because 30 to 60 minutes of extra daily movement from commuting, errands, and stairs can affect weight,
Oh
blood sugar,
yeah.
blood pressure,
Oh
and
yeah.
cardiovascular risk
Yep.
far more consistently than just a few intense gym sessions per week, surrounded by an otherwise sedentary lifestyle. But while we're on the subject of small changes that can make a big impact, I want to.
Obviously, I'm going to leave her video down in the description below so you can check out all her sponsors and everything. And obviously, subscribe to her channel. Like you should subscribe to mine. And like it and comment.
Switzerland, Austria, and Norway have a very strong Verein, or club culture. A cornerstone of social life, these voluntary associations or clubs are formed around a shared interest. Anything from sports and music to gardening, shooting, or volunteer firefighting. Here in Germany, there are over 600,000 registered associations, and
Hmm.
many are tied to specific towns or neighborhoods and can exist for decades or even centuries. They often act as a social backbone of smaller communities. But specific to sports, unlike more commercialized or individual fitness cultures, Verein emphasizes regular participation, routine, and community rather than peak performance. Instead of going to the gym,
I
many
love
Germans grow
swimming
up playing
too,
sports or
but that's
participating in
hard
groups
too
through their local
to
club,
do.
often for years. Plus, membership fees are usually modest, making activities like sports accessible to a wide population, including children. And this is exactly the same as in Norway, where their philosophy of joy of sport for all treats youth sports as a public good, focusing on inclusivity, fun, and affordability rather than early specialization or winning. By prohibiting scorekeeping until the age of 13, banning national rankings for children, and utilizing high volunteer rates, Norway keeps the costs low, often less than $1,000 a year, and boasts
That's
an
not bad at all.
astounding 95% participation rate, which
That's
might just be a strong retort against the hyper competitive travel sports that many American kids are enrolled in.
yeah.
After all, Norway dominated the 2026 Winter Olympics, setting a record with 18 gold medals. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
right.
watch
Even
any
though
of
it
the
has fewer
Olympics at
people than
all.
the state of Colorado, it won more total medals than any other country. Now, you might reasonably argue here, okay, Ashton, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Norway, yeah. They aren't representative of the entirety of Europe. And you're right. The countries I just mentioned are on the very healthier side of European nations when you look across the continent. Northern Central Europe, mainly Germany, the Netherlands, and Scandinavia, typically do see lower rates of obesity in comparison to Southern and Eastern Europe. However,
Yeah, but that's compared and contrast to America, like she is saying, even the worst European country is better than the best a part of America. So it's just kind of weird to describe it like that, you know, but I understand what her point is. It's not like every country in Europe is the same and how they apply their exercising ways of life from each other.
that being said, the US is still an outlier when it comes to adult and childhood obesity rates. Plus,
Oh
the
my
US is
god.
consistently high across.
Let's see this. Pennsylvania right here. There's a lot of it's so sad. There's so many fat, and as you can see, the more poor you get to, like down the south and like lower parts of the Midwest, where it's poorer, the fatter the obesity is. Soda's cheaper than drinking water down here. And their portions are insane. Their education, the worst in the country. So the bluest state in the country is Massachusetts. And you can see it's 25%. Yeah, 25%. California, Colorado. I think Colorado is the smallest. Yeah, I believe so. But yeah, like, lesser the education, Oklahoma is the 50th. I'm surprised their obesity is not bigger than Alabama, but this is just how it is. Numbers don't lie, you know. Oh no, Hawaii's the lowest. Oh no, it's not. I'm dumb. 23 is the lowest, and 24. So, but in general, as all of this, that's bad. That's bad.
Across most regions, whereas here in the EU it is highly variable depending on the country.
Yeah.
But all in all, obesity rates in the US
Look at that. Only Turkey is purple, and it's a light purple. Right here is all dark purple. That's crazy. Everything orange. So 25%. Which I don't know. That's not bad. I mean, Switzerland, Italy, and Covero, I think. Cosero. I forget how you say that name, but are basically winning there.
are about 50 to 70% higher than here in Europe. So perhaps, maybe unsurprisingly, the US has begun turning to the pharmaceutical industry for help. Which leads me to my next point. One of the biggest.
And obviously how bad that is. Now, this could work in some, like, if you have, like, medical problems to begin with, and age related, like diabetes, I think it might help with thyroids, things you can't really control. This does work for weight loss. What's the other one? PCOS. That helps. Just anything that you can't really control and it's like genetic and just out of the person's control and whatnot, that does help. But when people use this and they don't have any of those problems, that's the problem. And that, an American mindset, think, oh, I can get skinny in like 3 weeks. And it's like, no, you can't. And you shouldn't be able to do that. So I think she's going to talk more about the magic pill and looks like she's going to talk about wellness and people live longer when they're more healthy and stuff. So I'll leave the video in the description below. You can, if you're interested, you can watch more of her stuff. I'm gonna stop there for today. But yeah, like it's just crazy how we hyper focus on fitness, and yet we're the most obese country in the world, most unhealthy country in the world. And I'm sure Germany, they don't really think about it too much. like you guys got gyms and stuff. So like if you want to lift weights, you can go to the gym, but you're also walking because you can go to the job, walk to the gym, then even walk to the grocery store afterwards and then go home. You're always walking or riding bikes. It's like second nature between home, gym, work, accessories like grocery store, doctor's appointments, whatever. And that's just filled in walking, cycling. It's just a better way to live, honestly. Especially when the days are like nice and you get to be outside like that. Jealous of it. So, I think that's all I got for right now. I'm going to try to make more videos. I'm not feeling so overwhelmed. So I should be able to make more. But we'll see. It won't be 6 months, obviously. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.